why Unisport videos are making worse at football. When I was 11 years old in secondary school, my first year of secondary school, GSS1, I decided I wanted to become a professional footballer. But I was not as privileged as the other kids that started since they were 5, 4, 6. I just wanted to start at the age of 11. So that time I didn't even know any teams, any players whatsoever. And I wanted to be able to catch up with people that started ahead of me. So I started watching as many tutorials as possible. I started watching Unisport tutorials. It was not only Unisport I watched. I also watched 7MLC, All Attack, Will John, and some other channels like that. But Unisport was my favorite because they had the best video qualities. Like they always made their videos funny. So I watch Unisport the most. But and I will now watch videos like 5 skills to destroy defenders like Neymar, 5 Messi body feints you should learn today. Be learning those different kind of skills, and then I'd go out for a few minutes to be trying those skills, to be memorizing those skills. But when it came to match day to perform, I wasn't able to do any of those skills at all. I did not understand the game of football. Like I never knew where I was supposed to use those skills. Sometimes the skills never come to my head when it was time to use them. And I kept wondering what was going on. While Erida was not watching any tutorials, he was just playing the game for fun. He'd score goals, remove his shirt, get all the attention. And it was very annoying. Now I want to explain to you why those tutorials are not good for you. The first one is individual creativity. Those tutorials, they cage your individual creativity. They don't give you the ability to think outside the box, and that's because you are memorizing skills. Okay, for example, now players like Ronaldinho, Neymar, Yamal, Messi, do you think that they watch tutorials? They watched YouTube tutorials on how to do skills? No, come to think of it, the skills, some of the skills are named after them. And the reason why they are named after them is because it came out from their individual creativity. They were in a tight moment or a tight spot, and they allowed their creativity to shine through. When you are busy memorizing skills, you try and be remembering the skills that you have memorized earlier. But in reality, you should just stay in the present moment and let your creativity shine through. But when you start memorizing skills by watching tutorials, they take away that individual creativity from you. Then you're trying to copy another player instead of you to unlock your own inner creativity, your own inner fluidity. And those tutorials, they are more theory than practical, because I noticed that I'd watch like 1 hour of tutorials and then I'd go out for just 5 minutes to train. How do I expect to improve? I'd actually get those skills, but there was more theory than practical. I was not actually playing the game. If I knew better, I'd have just gone out and played. All the time I was using to watch tutorials, if I used them to actually play football, I'd have gotten much more better, faster. And the sad reality of these things is that those tutorials, they don't teach you anything about football at all. Like, they are not much realistic. How you know where to use skills like hocus pocus, where you're supposed to do the step over? Like, they just teach you how to do the skills. They don't teach you where to do them, if you should even do them, at all. Because most of those skills, the players just did them in tight spaces. Like when they don't have anywhere to escape, it just came to their head instinctively. Then you now want to learn something that someone created instinctively. You now want to memorize it, and you don't even know where and when to do those skills. So they are not much realistic. They don't show you the full game. Like those days, instead of me to be watching full matches and learning how the players actually play. And I thought that football was all about dribbling. When I started watching Unisport tutorials, I thought football was all about dribbling. Like, I don't know that most of football is 1 and 2 touch passing. And that's because I was not watching full games and I was just watching Unisport tutorials. So they don't show you what the true game is like. Now, how to actually improve in football? Prioritize small-sided games. This is something that I wish I did much more when I was much more younger, rather than now that I'm doing it later. because I would have improved so much more faster. Drop the cone drills, stop the tutorials, go out with your friends, play football. See, that's why they say that sometimes people that are poor, they make it more than people that are rich in football. And it's because those poor people, they don't have any phones or games to play with. They don't have any tutorials to watch. So when they are bored, what do you think they do? They just go out with their friends, they call their friends together and they start playing small-sided games. Even yesterday, when I went for my IT in one university where there are primary schools there, I saw some children, they went to the place that they practice, a ward that they practice tennis, and those children, they went there, were playing football, they were enjoying themselves, the smile on their face reminded me of when I used to play small-sided games. Small-sided games are where you learn the game because the pitch is smaller, so it means you have much it means you have um there's no much space to operate, so you have much more touches on the ball. And again, there's no pressure from coaches and fans. You're just playing for the enjoyment of the game. And it's when you're playing for the enjoyment that you can enter the flow state and unlock your creativity. Then we have cross training. I've just started embracing this much more recently. And before I even knew about cross training, when I used to play basketball, I noticed that I was much more better at football. Like, and that's because you're expanding your movement vocabulary. If you just focus on one single sport, then your body will adapt to one single sport and you'll be more injury prone because you're not exposed to different ranges of movements. That's why if you do your research, most pro footballers or most pro athletes, they have a background of playing multiple sports, and most pro athletes are have less injuries. They have a background of playing multiple sports as well, because it will increase, and even the way your brain can think, it will expand the way your brain can think as well, as well as your movement vocabulary. So cross train, and not just cross training, do things that are fun to you. Learn new skills, learn to touch type on keyboard, learn to play instruments. Like currently I'm playing guitar, I already know how to play keyboard as well. Like make your brain sharper, train your brain, learn new skills, learn new languages, speak to new people, challenge your brain. Just don't just make your brain dull. Then we have max intense training. So earlier I said I should prioritize small-sided games. So in a few days, maybe 2 days that you're free, I want to do some individual training to sharpen your skills. Like maybe your shooting needs improvements, or your dribbling needs improving. You can use the maximal intense principle. And the max intense principle is where you train, we want to recreate the flow state, want to recreate playing small-sided games, because that's where talents like Neymar, Rama, all the talents I can think of, they are made playing free unstructured they are made playing free unstructured football. And the way you can recreate that individually is by using the max intense principle, whereby you can unlock your flow states. If this is too easy and this is too difficult, you don't want to be training at a level that is too easy, whereby it becomes boring and you don't have any, it's not challenging enough for you to enter the flow state. But you also don't want to train at a level that is too difficult, that you start making too much mistakes. You want to train just here, that you make small mistakes. That means you're pushing your limits. When you start making mistakes, that means you're pushing your limits. We are not making too much mistakes that the quality drops off, because once the quality drops off, then it means that you are reinforcing bad technique. So this is too easy, this is too difficult. You want to be training slightly, pushing your limits, crossing the line slightly, pushing your limits, but you don't want to push your limits too much that the quality drops off. Hope that was easy to understand. And if you want a more in-depth guide on how to go from average to baller, then you can click the first link in the description to get my course. I have diet guide, game IQ guide, dribbling guide, a full technique guide, and how to train your fascia as well. Like the full package on how to go from average to baller in 30 days. If you want to get that, click the first link in the description. Then fun. Like you just have to have fun. Football is not a game of memorization. You have to be fluid, have fun. Like, I've noticed that when I stopped doing watching all those Unisport tutorials and I started trying to have fun, playing against my brother, trying to dribble my brother. Like, there's some, when you watch those Unisport tutorials, you're stiff, like you're not fluid because you're trying to do exactly the skill that they taught you. But when you have to rely on your instincts, you're more fluid. Like, there's a way you dribble. Like, I've unlocked a new method or way of dribbling that is much more efficient and much more effective, and it's like you don't need to do any fancy skills whatsoever. Just slight movement with your body, slight movement with your leg. Then notice when the defender goes off, then you can take on the defender. Have more fun in life. Like, relax, have fun. Football is not a do or die affair. Have fun. Quit watching the tutorials. And then training your fascia. What is fascia? Fascia is a thin connective tissue that wraps around all your bones, organs, tendons. It wraps around all our body and is our largest sensory organ, and is responsible for coordination and skill development. And how is fascia good for footballers, and how does it improve athleticism? One of the ways it improves athleticism is, when we run, our heels are not supposed to touch the floor. We're supposed to run on the balls of our feet. And all these coaches, they're always training their clients, stay on your toes, stay on your toes, stay on your toes. If their clients were top athletes, their clients don't need to be told to stay on their toes, because they would have had the fascial tension in their feet to be able to keep the heels from dropping. When you try and force the heels not to drop, you now start using muscles like your calf, which is a suboptimal pattern of movement. When you move, we're supposed to be back chain dominant. That means our hamstrings and our glutes activate when we move, with our abs as well. So training your fascia allows you to be able to activate that, and it's responsible for athleticism in general. And you might argue that why is it that if fascia was so good, why is it that the top athletes don't train their fascia? And the reason why the top athletes can get away with not training their fascia is because when they were little, they did things like free unstructured play, running barefoot, playing different sports. So they developed their fascia properly when they were little. But someone like me, and probably you, were sitting inside all day watching TV. So our fascia did not develop like the pros' fascia developed. So also we need to start training our fascia correctly and start from the feet. I'll show you 3 exercises now that I can use to train your fascia on the screen. Remember, if you want a more structured guide, you can click the first link in the description to get my course. And if you want to do these 3 exercises that I showed you on the screen, you must apply fascial tension. And fascial tension is where you activate the fascia in the feet by creating air under the foot and retracting the toes while puffing out the chest of the foot. So that should be the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.